Have you ever sat in silence, praying that your absence would be loud enough for her to finally understand your worth? If so, you're not alone. But what if I told you that no contact is not enough? What if I told you that ghosting her, disappearing from her world, and hoping she'll come crawling back is not the power move you think it is? Stay with me, because in this video we're going to look deeper into the cold, cutting truth about human nature, the power of the masculine frame, and how one of history's greatest Stoic philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, can show you how to truly crush her ego without ever lifting a finger. If you've been ghosted, betrayed, used, or emotionally manipulated, then this video will change your love life forever. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and watch all the way to the end, because what you're about to hear isn't just a guide, it's a revelation. Let's begin. Point 1. Silence isn't strength if you're still screaming inside. Let me ask you something. Have you ever laid in bed staring at the ceiling, wondering why your silence still echoes with her name? You've gone no contact. You've blocked her. You've stopped calling, stopped texting. But deep inside, there's still a war going on. A battle between what you show the world and what you're hiding in your chest. They say silence is power, but is it really power if every quiet moment feels like a scream no one hears? Let me tell you a story, your story, or maybe someone just like you. There was a man, stoic on the surface, iron-willed. He made the decision to go no contact after she walked out without turning back. He deleted the messages, unfollowed her, removed every trace. But every time his phone lit up, he hoped, just hoped it was her, even though he knew it wouldn't be. Sound familiar? This man, let's just call him you, did everything the internet told him to do. Disappear and she'll come back. Silence is the loudest scream. No contact is revenge. But what they don't tell you is this: no, contact is not enough if you don't confront what's inside you. So let me ask you, do you remember how she used to look at you when you laughed at something stupid? How she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was nervous? That one day when you felt like the only two people in the world? You remember, don't you? The silence isn't fixing that. It's just putting a filter over a bleeding wound, a mask over your heart. Marcus Aurelius, the ancient Roman emperor and one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." You can't control her actions. You can't force her to miss you, but you can turn your silence from passive suffering into active healing. And here's the truth most men never learn. No contact isn't a revenge plan. It's a transformation phase. But only if you use that silence to work on the man you were before the breakup. Ask yourself, were you truly the man you wanted to be in that relationship? Did you communicate your needs or suppress them? Did you live your purpose or orbit around her? You see, true silence isn't just not speaking. It's when the storm inside you settles. The moment when your thoughts no longer beg for her return, but instead focus on your return to self-respect, to clarity, to peace. So don't just go no contact. Go deep, go silent, within, because only then will the silence not be a scream, but a statement. And maybe one day, she'll wonder why the man who used to chase her now walks with purpose, without a single backward glance. But by then, maybe you won't care anymore. Stick around, because what I'll reveal next will help you rebuild from within, and not just survive the loss, but rise from it, like a man who knows his worth. Point 2. Her ego thrives on your obsession, starve it with purpose. Let me ask you, what do you think she feels when you keep checking her last scene? When you linger on her social media, decoding her every post like it's a secret message meant for you? You think she doesn't notice? Oh, she does. She may not see your face anymore, but your energy, your obsession, still feeds her ego like fire feeds smoke. Every time you think of her obsessively, every time you search for signs she's missing you, you're not walking away, you're crawling behind her silently. Let me tell you the second chapter of your story. You told yourself you'd stop checking her Instagram, but one night around 2:13 a.m., something pulled you in again. You saw a new photo. She was smiling. Worse, she looked unbothered, like you were just a faded page in a book she'd finished reading. And it crushed you, because deep inside you still wanted her to hurt. You wanted her to feel something, like the way you feel every single night. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Your obsession fuels her ego. Your withdrawal starves it. Marcus Aurelius said it best. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. That's it. Stop arguing with reality. Stop obsessing over what she's doing. And become. You see, the goal isn't to win her back by disappearing. That's a weak man's game, making moves from a place of lack, not power. The real victory? Becoming so deeply invested in your growth that her absence becomes irrelevant. Let me ask you something real. Do you remember the dreams you had before she came along? The goals you placed on hold to spend more time with her? The gym sessions you skipped? The business plans you shelved? The books you stopped reading? That was the man she met. The man with vision, with fire in his eyes. Not the man scrolling endlessly through her feed hoping for a sign. You want to crush her ego? Don't send a message. Don't post something cryptic. Don't play games. Disappear into your purpose. Start waking up early again. Hit the gym like a man possessed. Read books that sharpen your mind. Build your body, your business, your mission. Because the more you obsess over her, the more power you give away. But the moment you return to yourself, something changes. Suddenly she feels it. The silence becomes deafening. Not because you're gone, but because you're growing. You've stopped being a source of validation. And that, my friend, is when her ego begins to crack. Because she's no longer the sun in your sky, you've become your own source of light. And when she finally looks back, maybe she'll realize she didn't just lose a lover. She lost a man in motion. A man she'll never catch again. Stay with me, because the next chapter of this story dives deeper into the moment she realizes you've outgrown her. And trust me, you don't want to miss what that looks like. Point 3, she doesn't miss you, she misses the power you gave her. Be honest with yourself. When you miss her, do you really miss her? Or do you miss the version of you that existed when she needed you? There's a haunting difference. One that most men never pause to understand. You're not just grieving love. You're grieving the power you handed over, and how empty your hands now feel without it. Let's step back into your story. You were the guy who would drop everything the moment her name lit up your phone. You rearranged your days, your goals, even your identity, just to make her happy. You confused sacrifice with loyalty and attention with love. And here's the brutal truth. She didn't love the man you truly were. She loved the man who loved her more than himself. That man was predictable, available, easy to reach, easy to control. So when you went silent, really silent, not just no contact, but mentally disconnected, she didn't miss your jokes or your scent or the way you used to kiss her forehead. She missed the control. Marcus Aurelius once said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." What he didn't say, but implied through every action of his life, is this: you must also be grateful for your own power, your own sense of self, that sacred, unshakable center inside you. You see, most men don't realize they handed over their power until it's gone. And when a woman gets used to holding it, she doesn't miss you when you leave. She misses the version of her that felt more in control. That's not love. That's ego. And that's why she checks if you've watched her stories. That's why she posts cryptic quotes. That's why she flirts online but never texts you back. She doesn't want you back. She wants to know if she still has access. So let me ask you, does she? Because the moment you stop reacting, stop stalking her pages, stop wondering what she's doing, and start doing you, that's the moment the spell breaks. She'll feel it. She'll sense it. Not because you told her, but because energy doesn't lie. And maybe then for the first time she'll miss you. The real you. The man who loved himself more than her validation. And maybe by then, you'll finally realize she was just a chapter, not the whole book. You want her to feel the loss? Then show her that the power she once had over you is no longer for sale. Not at any price. Stay with me, because the next part of this journey is the turning point. It's the moment when you stop proving your worth to her and start proving it to yourself. And that is where the real transformation begins. Point 4, stop trying to be the man she regrets. Losing, be the man she'll never deserve again. Let me ask you something raw. How many times have you played the what if game in your head? What if I had said this? What if I had done that? What if I change? Maybe she'll come back. You see, so many men waste months, even years, trying to become the man she'll regret losing. They upgrade their wardrobe, hit the gym, post subtle flexes on Instagram, hoping she'll scroll through and whisper, "Damn, I messed up." But let me tell you something she'll never say out loud. She doesn't regret losing you. Not yet. Because you're still trying to earn the same woman who walked away without looking back. Let's return to your story for a moment. You were hurting, broken, searching through YouTube at 3 a.m., hoping to find answers that could make the pain stop. And somewhere along the way, you found this idea. Become the man she regrets losing. It sounds powerful, motivating, but it's flawed. Because if your growth is built on her validation, it's not real growth. It's just disguised desperation. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Ambition means tying your well-being to what other people say or do. Sanity means tying it to your own actions." Let that sink in. If you're upgrading your life just so she can see and suffer, then your purpose is still tied to her. And as long as it is, you're still hers. You see, the goal isn't to make her regret. The goal is to become the man who looks back and says, "She never deserved the evolved version of me." Think back. Think of all the red flags you ignored. The moments you begged for clarity while she gave you confusion. The nights you stayed up crying while she was out laughing. The way she made you feel like loving too much was a flaw. Why would you ever want someone like that to approve of your growth? Here's the real power move. Evolve so completely that you're no longer trying to fit into the version of you she fell in love with. Because that man bent, twisted, and broke himself to keep her. But this man, the one watching this video now, is starting to remember his value. So stop rehearsing that comeback message. Stop planning that perfect post. Stop trying to be the man she regrets losing. Be the man she'll never get access to again. Be the man who stopped chasing love and started building a life that was too powerful to be paused by heartbreak. And one day maybe she will regret it. But by then, you'll be too far ahead to even care. Stick with me, because the next truth we uncover will show you how disappearing isn't about hiding. It's about reclaiming your throne. And kings don't beg. They build. Point 5. Silence is your loudest statement. Use it to build unshakable confidence. Have you ever wondered why silence can feel louder than words? Think back to the last time you tried to reach out and she didn't respond. Remember that aching quiet that filled your phone screen? No seen notification, no typing dots, just nothing. At first it feels like a void. A hole you want to fill with texts, calls, desperate messages. But what if I told you that this silence is actually your greatest weapon? Let me share a piece of my story. When I first decided to go no contact, I was terrified. The silence was deafening. I was scared she'd forget me, or worse, they'd move on. But slowly I realized something. The silence wasn't empty. It was space. Space to heal. Space to grow. Space to become the man I needed to be without her shadow looming over me. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When you flood your mind with her presence, your soul wears her colors: confusion, sadness, obsession. But when you create silence, when you stop chasing, your soul begins to dye itself with strength, self-respect, and calm. Here's a question for you. What memories do you keep replaying in your mind about her? Are they moments where you felt strong, respected, alive? Or are they moments where you felt small, desperate, invisible? You see, silence forces you to confront your own thoughts and emotions, not hers. And that's where true power is born. In that space, you're not begging for her attention. You're building confidence. You're proving to yourself that your happiness doesn't depend on her words or actions. Imagine waking up one morning, scrolling past her profile without a flicker of pain or jealousy. Imagine feeling calm, steady, and certain, because you know who you are, regardless of whether she remembers you or not. That's the kind of confidence that crushes egos, not by shouting or pleading, but by simply being. Because when you're silent, mysterious, and unapologetically focused on your own life, it's like a magnet. It pulls her curiosity, her regret, even her respect. But more importantly, it pulls yourself back to center. And that's what Marcus Aurelius meant when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." The silence isn't your weakness. It's your declaration that you are done giving your power away. So embrace it. Let it fuel your mornings, your workouts, your work. Let it remind you that your worth is never tied to someone else's attention. And when she finally feels that change, it won't be because you told her. It will be because your silence speaks louder than any words ever could. Stay close, because the next part dives into the final transformation. The moment when you stop hoping and start living, and everything changes. Point 6. Reclaim your life. Transform pain into power and watch her ego crumble. If you're still with me, this is the moment you've been waiting for. The moment where you stop being a prisoner of her absence and start living like a king in your own right. Let me tell you something real. The pain you're feeling now, the heartbreak, the loneliness, the self-doubt, it's not a curse. It's the forge where a stronger man is made. I remember those long nights, the crushing emptiness, the question, will she ever see what she lost? But slowly, day by day, I stopped waiting for answers. Instead, I asked myself, what do I want my life to look like if she never comes back? Because here's the secret no one tells you. You don't need her to be whole, Marcus Aurelius said. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every rejection, every silence, every moment of no contact, they're not walls blocking you. They're steps leading you forward. The moment you realize this, something shifts. You stop living for her validation and start living for your own purpose. You fill your days with goals, passions, friendships, and self-care. You stop watching her social media and start watching your own progress. And here's the kicker. That's the moment her ego begins to crumble. Because a woman who once thrived on the power she held over you suddenly feels the loss of control. She notices the new man, a man who doesn't answer at midnight, who doesn't text first, who doesn't beg for affection. She senses the unshakable confidence radiating from your silence. And maybe, just maybe, she starts to regret what she threw away. But by then, you're already too far gone on your path to care, because you've done something far more powerful than crushing her. Ego. You've crushed your own limitations. You've rewritten your story. So here's my question for you. What's your next chapter going to be? Will it be one where you wait for her approval, or one where you build a life so rich and full that nothing and no one can shake you? Remember, no contact isn't just about not talking. It's about becoming the man who loves himself more than he fears losing someone else. That man doesn't need to crush her ego to feel strong, because his strength comes from within. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.